Should I start?
Yeah, but also, by the way, please pay attention on our screen. Gilad will be flashing the 3 and 1 minute signs. Just
okay.
Okay? Please go
All
ahead.
right. So, thanks everyone for inviting Amobee. Before I talk about our company, I'd like to talk a little bit about mobile and advertising. If you turn to page 2, you'll see that a lot of analysts talk about the billions and billions of dollars to come to mobile advertising. The next 2 slides will show this in a bit of a different perspective. What you see here is time span, attention span for each type of media across different channels. And clearly within mobile, people are spending more and more time on mobile, but the ad dollars have not flown there yet. That is the opportunity that we addressed. There are many reasons, by the way, for that not happening so far. Most of the services have been consumed on a for-pay basis, but if you look at the internet, clearly there's a very strong demand for ad-funded services. Moving on to page 3 is another way of showing the example of the potential of mobile and advertising. On the left, you see the number of searches or transactions on Google and the revenue that Google is making off these transactions. And on the right, you see the number of SMS messages sent only on AT&T's network. Clearly, the number globally is much larger. And the revenue that AT&T is making off these searches. So, looking at these 2, and clearly it's not apples to apples, the 2 numbers, one is from search and one is from potential impressions, there's a very large opportunity for mobile advertising. And one of the services that we enable carriers to provide is an ad-funded service where SMS messages are not necessarily offered for free, but in a certain package you may get more messages per month if you agree to opt in to an ad-funded plan. Moving on to slide 4. So what does Amobee do? We are focused on mobile advertising, but unlike many of the companies in this field, we look solely at the needs of carriers because we think that mobile is very different from the internet. On the internet, the ISP has no influence on the services you use, on the content you consume, on the applications you use, definitely not on your messaging. Whereas in mobile, the carrier has complete control over most of your messaging, over SMS, has a lot of influence on where you surf, both on deck and links to off deck. Most of the applications you use are either bundled on the phone or offered by the carrier on their deck, and so on and so forth. So that position of influence puts the carrier in a position to offer subscribers ad-funded services. Now, if you look at mobile overall in developed countries, market saturation has more than beat the amount of revenue that the carriers can extract from consumers has pretty much reached a limit. And what Amobee is about is bringing new money into the mobile ecosystem, ad dollars, which clearly, as I mentioned before, on the internet is a proven way to both give consumers a lot of services and to generate additional revenue. Moving on to the next slide, the focus on carriers, slide 5, you guys see it? Okay. Our focus on carriers has led to mass adoption across multiple regions. We started initially in North America and Europe, and we have about 6 times as many deployments as our nearest competitor, and the others are only just starting. And I think that's a testament to the fact that we're able to, like I mentioned before, bring new money into the system. Moving on to the next slide, very quickly, the brands you see here are the brands that the quality and quantity of the inventory that we generate can attract, mainly because some of the issues that were mentioned before about the targeting that we're able to provide, but also because of the focus of carriers and the kind of inventory that they generate. Carriers do not want a retail and direct marketer brands that much next to their brands. Moving on to the next slide. This slide is our marketing strategy in a nutshell. We don't issue a lot of press releases. We're very proud to have these companies as our customers, and we think that together we can bring a lot of new services to consumers. Last slide, to summarize. Amobee, as I mentioned before, we're at the GSMA. The reason we're here is first and foremost our focus on carriers and helping them generate new revenue streams. But we realize that that won't be possible without helping content developers and application providers to generate new revenue. We saw a few apps before that could clearly use the help of advertising, and of course giving users a true benefit and enabling them to receive more services for substantially less than what they would have been paying a la carte. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ziv. And by the way, Ziv, I believe, is joining us from Palo Alto, California today. So, good morning.
Has been off-net ad space, which you don't necessarily, as a brand, want to be associated with. The kind of inventory that we're opening up in carriers, being on the deck, being in applications, being in a carrier environment of messaging, we think that, and talking to agencies, know that this is extremely attractive to them. So I think that that in addition with the targeting that we can offer, then specifically the age, gender, and location, things which aren't available on the off-deck world, but as you know are extremely attractive to brand advertisers, we think that's going to bring them on in a big way.
Okay, well, thank you, Ziv. I believe that's it. Those are the 3 minutes of questions, so thank you for getting up early.